The search for Michael Vaughan continues. Michael went missing from his neighborhood in Fruitland in July of 2021. He was just 5 years old at the time. Law enforcement has spent the last year and a half investigating. But the Fruitland police chief says a credible tip led investigators to a home near Michael's neighborhood this weekend.
Crews are back out in Fruitland today searching for Michael Vaughan. Police believe his remains are in the backyard of a Fruitland home, and today is the 6th day crews are excavating the yard. Crews could be at the house on Red Wing Street for another week. This house is just 4 minutes from the Vaughan's home.
As you know, from the time Michael went missing, this has been an all-hands-on-deck investigation, and it remains very active and an ongoing investigation. You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop. During the course of this investigation to date, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughan could be found in the backyard at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department obtained a search warrant for the residence along with the front and backyards. That search warrant was served on November 11th. It was a Friday. We served that late in the evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wandra, one of the known occupants of the home, and Sarah was subsequently arrested based on probable cause that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement. The following day, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, the Fruitland Fire Department, and the Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of the Wandra's home. During that excavation process, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Mountain States detection dogs deployed multiple certified human remains detection dogs on the property, all of them alerting to the presence of human remains. Ground penetrating radar was also used and deployed, detecting anomalies in the backyard. We completed the excavation of the entire backyard and removed over 250 yards of dirt. Prior to backfilling the yard, the dirt was meticulously sifted for any potential human remains. We did not find Michael's remains. Although the remains of Michael Vaughan were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property. As of today, the whereabouts of his remains are unknown. However, the investigation is active, fluid, and ongoing. Once the excavation was complete, we conducted a thorough search of the Wandra's residence. The search was productive, and additional investigative evidence was recovered and is currently being processed.
Evidence suggests that the following individuals who are currently in custody are involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughan. Sarah Wandra, 35 years old. Sarah lives at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Sarah has firsthand knowledge and is involved in Michael's abduction. Sarah Wandra is currently being held at the Payette County Jail for failing to report a death to law enforcement. And Stacy Wandra, 30 years old, a male. Stacy was also living at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland and was living there at the time of Michael's disappearance. We believe that Stacy has firsthand knowledge and is involved in the abduction of Michael Vaughan. Brandon Shurtliff, 30 years old, of Kuna, Idaho. Brandon was living with Sarah and Stacy Wandra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe Brandon has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction. Adrian Lucian, 32-year-old male out of Toledo, Ohio. Adrian was staying with Sarah and Stacy Wandra at 1102 Red Wing Street at the time of Michael's disappearance, and we believe that Adrian has firsthand knowledge of Michael's abduction.
Hello, everybody. What's going on? It is Friday, May 9th, 2025. Welcome to Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. It is so good to have you here. Happy Mother's Day to all of the beautiful, loving, caring mamas out there. Happy Mother's Day to Brandy, one of the strongest mothers that I know. You know, I lost my mom in 2013, and I miss her every single day. Be kind to your mothers, love them, talk to them, respect them, because you never know how long you're going to have your mama. But I really do hope that all of the great mamas out there, whether you're a stepmom or not, just, you know, adopted mom, it doesn't even matter. Happy Mother's Day to you all. We're here to analyze and finish up the exclusive interview that I did with Brandon during this series of the Shurtliff shit show, after we did the series of Stacey Wandra's shit show, which you can always go back and take a listen to. We are finding out a lot of slips from Brandon Shurtliff, and that is amazing. It's going to be great content to be able to put out videos on in shorts. That way people that aren't coming into chat to be here to help us analyze can see it for themselves. And that all brings awareness to Monkey. I appreciate you guys all being here. Who's in the house? We've got Tara in the house. Let's see what you got to say, Tara. Is that all suspects, while a mother searches for her baby, they all know, or they know all what was done to him. Nothing will hold in court for an arrest. My heart just hurts when I see his sweet face. Nothing will hold in court for an arrest. I just believe different. I believe that when arrests are made, things will hold up in court. I don't know if you're trying to say that it won't or not. Oh, Sally Mae is here. Thank you for coming in. Donna Might, good to see you. Z Lily, thank you for coming, my beautiful moderator. We just got done speaking on the phone for hours about Kyron, about Michael. Rizzo in the house. How are you, hun? Thank you for coming in. My beautiful admin, Avi, good to see you. Glad you're here, hun. Jen, hello. Thank you for coming in. Shannon, thank you for that wonderful message today. Just getting back to me about whether or not any of the taxis that she saw coming and going to the bar where she was working when Michael came up missing, or during that time, if Adrian was ever seen driving a taxi. She said most of the time it was just Stacy and Sarah, and they were usually fighting. So thank you for sending that message. Oh, you're not. No, I am not. I am sad that there are no charges still. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. My brain was not wanting to process what you said. Thank you for coming in, Tara. I do appreciate you. And everybody's here allowed to their own opinions anyway. Pretty Assessor, thank you for coming in. You made it today. She's been catching up. She was on vacation visiting family. Julia in the house. Good to see you here. We're also sad that charges aren't being brought forth, but let's just keep remembering that the DA is doing everything they can to bring the charges. And what they're doing right now is making the case even stronger. They're adding information to the case. The law enforcement's looking for Monkey because they want him. If they have that information, it will help the DA's case get even stronger. And all we need to do is, have faith in the system and with law enforcement. I did forget to put up a reminder in the Facebook groups that I was going live. I did say it at the end of the live yesterday, so I do hope more people come in. That's my bad. I usually share that stuff in Facebook. Thank you guys for supporting Monkey, for being here, for Michael Joseph Vaughan. He was abducted on July 27th of 2021 from his neighborhood in Fruitland, Idaho. There are 4 named suspects in Michael's abduction and murder, and that is Stacy and Sarah, Wandra, Adrian, Lucian, and Brandon Shurtliff, and that is who we're here to talk about today. Brandon, we're going to ask you again to please come forward with any information that you have about where Michael is, because law enforcement seems to think you might know where Monkey is now, where he is buried. The plea deal was take the plea deal, get the life sentence, the death penalty off the table if you can tell law enforcement where Monkey is. Please come forward with that information or any information, any knowledge that you have of Monkey's case. It's very disheartening to know that Brandy is out there begging these suspects for one of them to come forward, say something about where her son is, what happened. It's very difficult for the family to wonder what happened to Michael and where he is now. It's time that Michael comes home and is put to rest the way he should be put to rest. If anybody has any tips, any information at all, you can collect over $52,000 with any information leading to the recovery of Michael Joseph Vaughan. If you have any information about the suspects, please call law enforcement. The telephone number for the tip line is 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. If you have a tip, let law enforcement decide whether or not it's credible. If your tip is a rumor, still let them figure out if your tip is credible. Your tip could match somebody else's tip. That information could be the one puzzle piece that they need to finish putting the puzzle together. So don't ever think that your tip is not important, because every tip is important. If you know where Brandon Shurtliff is, email law enforcement. Tell them where he's at. If he's working with you, if you've seen him working, let's talk to law enforcement and let them know what Brandon Shurtliff is up to. You can email findmichael@fruitland.org with any of that information. I am not saying that law enforcement doesn't know where he's at, but it doesn't hurt to keep an eye on Brandon, since he seems to think that he's running, and he is trying to run and hide away from law enforcement, bouncing all over the place. So my throat's been a little bit sore today, and I was on the phone for quite a few hours. So if I'm sorry if I have to cough or anything throughout the live, just saying. You know, the suspects were updated January 10th of 2025. They are still suspects. We need one of the suspects to come forward, tell law enforcement what happened and where Monkey is, because that's what the most important thing is. Monkey coming home. The unknown is what kills the family. Not knowing is the worst part of their tragedy. And somebody out there could be this family's hero and could be Monkey's hero by just coming forward and calling in a tip at 208-642-6006, or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Thank you guys all so much for coming in. Michael was only 5 years old when he was abducted. It just so happens that at the time that Michael was outside, there were monsters in the neighborhood. And he was abducted out of pure circumstance, or what is the word I'm looking for? A coincidence. I'm just losing my words right now, you guys. It is Friday, and I'm excited that it's Friday. That means I have the weekend to rest and prepare for more upcoming lives. Don't know if we'll get through all of this. We still have almost an hour left in this live to go through and analyze. Justice for Michael. Stephanie, thank you for being here. They're evil monsters. They know where Monkey is and they won't talk. Doesn't matter how much Brandy begs.
And Brandon, you know what happened to our beautiful baby. Whether you were directly involved, but you know. You need to start talking. You need to come forward. Quit lying, quit hiding. Please tell us where Michael is. Let our family have some rest, please. Let us bring our baby home. We've worked tirelessly, endlessly. Law enforcement, stop protecting these criminals. It's time to tell the truth. It's time to own up. It's time to find Michael and bring him home and stop your BS.
You heard it. Brandy said, own up. Stop the BS. You know, Brandon, you're only being a coward. You need to come forward and tell law enforcement where Monkey is. You need to accept the plea deal, accept the fact that charges are coming and you're going to jail one way or another, and instead of the death penalty, maybe you'll just get life in prison. Hell, maybe the plea deal even offered you something better than that. Take the plea deal. It's ignorant not to take the plea deal, in my opinion. And for people that want to say, how could he even have a plea deal? There's no charges out there on him. Well, there's charges out there. They've been written up, but he hasn't been arrested. And then even though the law says you can't be offering up plea deals when a suspect hasn't been arrested, it happens all the time. Whether you want to believe it or not, happens all the time. Julia, he was in jail. He was only in jail for a few days and got out. And they were on unrelated charges. It was for a warrant in what, Kootenai County? Same county as Post Falls, exactly where we knew he was. Thank you so much for the super chat. Yes, Brandon, Shannon says you were making it worse on yourself. And you really, truly are. And Shannon has us dancing in our chairs right at the beginning of the live. Thank you so much for your super chat. Let's party. I'm just at awe constantly. How cowardly you are, Brandon, that you cannot accept the fact that you're going to jail, charges are coming, and you're still trying to run and hide. Even though I know where you're at, and if I know where you're at, law enforcement knows where you're at. Face it. That's just the facts. You have some kind of knowledge of Michael's abduction and murder if you didn't harm Michael yourself, like Stacy Wandra said you did. If you didn't do anything, why is it so hard for you to go talk to law enforcement if you don't have any involvement? Makes no sense. Jemima, thank you for coming in. Nice to see you, hon. Angel girl in the house. Thank you for coming in. And thank you for the prayers. Let's continue prayers for Brandy, who is still very sick. Like Tara says, it's happening one way or another. Take the deal. You're an idiot if you don't. True facts right there. True facts. I hope you guys have amazing plans for the weekend. I'm going to be doing some more gardening. I may or may not go out for dinner with my family. We haven't decided to do that or to have breakfast on Sunday, Mother's Day, over at my daughter's house. But yeah, I hope you guys got some plans for Mother's Day. All of you mothers out there. You know, when I lost my mom in 2013, it is not easy to lose your mama. So please be thankful for your mama. Give her all the love in the world. Take some time to send her love, to maybe buy her some flowers, write her or get a card, write her out a card, make her card something. You know, that means a lot to a mom. I know. I have 3 kids. I got 6 grandbabies. I miss my mom every single day, and I wish I would have been a better daughter. And not that me and my mom didn't get along or whatever, but I just wish I could have done things differently. I wish I could have been better at things, knowing what I know now and growing up. So, oh my gosh, Stephanie is headed to the cabin on the beach, and she's super excited, and she's taking all of us with her. Yay! No, I wish. I wish. Have fun. That sounds amazing. The beach is like my home away from home. Thank you so much, Jen, for being here. I am going to have a great Mother's Day because I just want to relax. Honestly, that's all I want to do is relax. Thank you. Stephanie is like, yeah, come with. I'd love that. I would too. I really wish I could. Where are you from? Are you here in the Pacific Northwest? How close are you? Maybe it can happen. No, I want you to have a blast. That sounds amazing. Oh, Pam, I'm so sorry you just lost your mom. That's so hard. Prayers for you, honey. Hair curlers and crime. Best YouTube name on the YouTube streets. She's been listening. She says hello to everybody. Good to have you here. She's in Wisconsin, I think that is, headed to Michigan. Oh, yeah. I'm all the way over here in Washington, hon. Too far away to join. Boo. Oh my God, Jonathan lives 300 feet from the beach. Ugh, I would love that so much. Oh my gosh, I would love that so much. One of these days, though. Thank you, pretty assessor. One of these days, maybe. Oh, you ain't got to be sorry. I hope you have a blast. Maybe one of these days we'll live at the beach. That is my goal someday. Well, people are still coming in and out. I think we should get ready. Let's just see how much of this we can actually get through. Brandon slips up so much that we're just having to stop constantly. And now, like earlier today, I'm working on a video to put up later this evening. I still need to work on a thumbnail, but him talking about Stacy being in the house when they're in CUNA. Okay? That's never been said before. But then Stacy Wandra kind of puts himself in the house if he's witnessing Brandon Shurtliff bound Michael up with duct tape in the spare room at Tina Marill's house, right? So then you have Brandon also putting him in the house. You have Brandon saying that he is hooking up the toe strap and everything else, but you have Stacy saying he's the one that's outside hooking up the toe strap. Which one's telling the truth? Is Brandon just saying that he's outside doing the tow strap and hooking up the vehicles because he doesn't want to put himself in the house where Monkey is, even though Stacy's already put him in the house and put him pretty much as the person harming Michael in the house? These suspects do nothing but lie. How is court gonna go when they all get in the courtroom and there's charges? I mean, can you imagine the shit show in court? All of the lies? Can you imagine Stacy Wandra in there trying to convince a jury or the judge when the evidence is going to show all of these different contradictions and everything from his YouTube? And don't think that that YouTube stuff won't be used in court, because it will. It's public information now that he made that decision to get up on the live and talk around all of YouTube, just like Brandon has done. That information will be used against him in court. And Brandon contradicts himself too. From just the day before the live and the recording that I have to the day of the live. By the way, I just want to say this before I forget. On June 1st, 2025, Kyron Horman's mother, Kyron Horman's been missing for 15 years on June 4th. He came up missing in Portland, Oregon. He was last seen at Skyline Elementary School with a step monster, Terry Horman. Her and her best friend, Dee Dee Spicer, have been the focus since Kyron Horman's disappearance. Kyron's mom will be holding a gathering up at Skyline Elementary School on June 1st because the date of his disappearance is here, and she wants to, get everybody together so no one forgets Kyron. It's at 7 p.m. until the sun goes down. So if you're in the area and would like to be there to support Desiree Young and Kyron's family, please show up for that. We will be doing a live on Kyron as soon as this interview analyzation is done. And also June 4th, on the day 15 years later of Kyron's actual disappearance, I will be live all day, or at least 6 hours of the day. I usually start 11 o'clock to noon and then go until 6 or 7 o'clock. It will depend on how many people are watching. I would love to have you guys all there. I did this last year for Kyron. It was a great show. It's a good way to learn about Kyron Horman, what happened to Kyron. Sarah Suspicious is in the house. I love saying your name. Thank you for coming in. It's a great way to get to know Kyron Horman's story. One of the reasons that I took Michael Vaughan's case on, I don't know if you guys know this or not, and I was asked to take on Michael Vaughan's case and cover his case here on the YouTube. The Kyron Horman Foundation has Michael Vaughan listed as somebody that they sponsor. So that's why I was so, enthusiastic about covering Michael's case, was because he was part of Kyron Horman's Foundation, and that's how my channel started. Butterflies are free to fly. Good to see you, Pam. Thank you for coming in. But if you guys want to join me on June 4th, 2025, I would love to have you guys here. Give Kyron some support. And don't forget to click the notifications for all Kyron and Michael lives that are going on right now. And in the future, we'll be doing lives on other children. There's just new movement in the Kyron case and lots of movement in Michael's case right now. So I'm just trying to focus on these two, even though I have done lives on other children. And still have lives to do on other children that I've already worked on before. So anyway, let's get started. Let's start analyzing. I've got my pen and paper. I know lots of people take notes. I've got my binder full of notes. I love keeping track of the timestamps. It gives me a chance to go back, make videos, put out more awareness for Michael. It's one of the reasons that we're doing this is to find slips, any slips that are big enough. I might even send over to law enforcement. I've done that before with other things that we have found. So comment in the comment section. Let me know if you hear anything. I'll definitely rewind and we'll be able to take a listen. If I don't, you can also email me. Let me put up my email address real quick. I'm not very good at checking my emails. I'll admit it. I got an email from somebody today that was kind of upset with me for not getting back to their email from April. So that's how horrible I am. And I'm very, very sorry that I don't check my email often, but I am getting better at it. It's a new email for me, and I'm not even good at checking my regular personal email. So don't take offense if I don't get back to you. I'm very busy. When I'm not doing lives, I am working in the background on a few cases right now. So keep that in mind. I'm just really, really super busy, but I will get to it eventually. Oh my gosh, Jemima. Yes. She says, does anyone else feel like they lose a brain cell when listening to Brandon? You know what? He has lost a few brain cells. I go back and you listen to what he has to say, the way he words things, the way he clusters his words together. He makes no sense. And when you get him flustered, that all gets worse. It's like he's trying so hard to pretend and act like he's smart. And when he tries to come up with these big, extravagant words, he kind of makes himself look more ridiculous. I could call him a few names right now, but I won't. Brandon, call law enforcement. Do everyone a favor and just call law enforcement. Be Monkey's hero. Be the Vaughan hero, because justice is coming for Michael. Whether you take the deal and come forward or not, you're still going to get arrested. And let me tell you, it's going to be a lot sooner than you think. Yeah, so many words, and we call it word salad because, like Hair Curlers in Crime says, he makes me dizzy. He does. He has you running circles. Sarah says, I always go over stuff repeatedly because you always catch things you didn't hear before. And that is so true. Some of the stuff I've heard, even in the Stacey Wandra interviews that he did, man, I thought I had gone through all of those with a fine tooth comb. I couldn't believe how much stuff we found going back through all of that. I know it kind of is long and drawn out, going over everything again and again, but guess what? We're keeping Monkey's face out there. We're keeping his smile out there. We're keeping Monkey alive out there by bringing awareness to him so the public doesn't forget who Michael is. And that is what is important. If you have any information, there's over a $52,000 reward. For any information about Michael's abduction or murder, please call the Fruitland Police tip line at 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. No tip is too small. All right, let's get through this. Please be keeping an eye out for any new videos with the contradictions. If that's something that you want to see, spread the word. If you're asking what you can do for Monkey, you can share Monkey. That's what Brandy and the Vaughn family would want you to do. Share his flyer, share his story, share, share, share. I don't care if it's one of my lives or something that I've done here or any other creators. Make sure it's a creator that's not spreading misinformation, please. And then, just share, share, share Michael. That's what's important. We just need to share him. Okay. So we are 50 minutes in, and it is an hour and 50 minutes long. It has taken us 3 lives, I think, 2 or 3 lives now to just get through 50 minutes. So I'm pretty sure we're not going to finish this whole thing tonight. I can guarantee you, because he slips and slips and slips. So I've got my phone. I'm keeping an eye on chat. Let's see what else Brandon has to say. And did you guys notice here? So underneath his B for Brandon, he has Brandequa Shurtliff. And then it says, what's the bright idea? With a little light bulb. Now. Why would he say that? Why is he so weird with like his Facebook posts or all of the other stuff that he does? Why is he so weird with his wording? Like, what's the bright idea now? What the hell is he even talking about? Okay. Squeaky wheel always gets the deal, Brandon. Be a man and talk to LE. They're gonna catch up to you. Exactly. All right. Let's go. That's what we're doing. We're clearing your name. We're, getting your side of the story. So, yeah, I just really appreciate you, being here and stuff and letting me go over the questions you and I, talked about yesterday. Hello, Rhonda. And yeah, you were saying that you.
Right after this happened, not really, no.
Sarah and Stacy trying to move out of town or anything after Michael's abduction?
I have heard him talk about traveling plans before, but as far as right after this happened, not really, no.
Okay. Do you mind if I take some questions from chat? I mean, they've been very, very nice. I just will let you know. I don't know if you're watching chat from another phone or what, but they have been being fairly nice, and people have a few. I couldn't believe how nice my chat was. I couldn't believe it. My chat is the best chat on YouTube. I am telling you, to have him up there and hardly have anybody attacking him, being a suspect in Michael Vaughan's case, being that way in chat keeps the people that you have up on panel up there. If he had another phone or a computer or anything and been watching and seeing people attack him and stuff in chat, he could have dropped down and left, because that's what happens. And we need to provide a safe place for whether they're suspects or other people, family members, anything, to come up on panel. And you guys do not know how much I appreciate all of you for not attacking Brandon while he was here. Few questions. Would you mind answering a few?
No, not at all. I mean, I can't really see the comments and this and that from my browser page right now, but I mean, yeah, if there's good questions, concerns, comments, this and that, I'd like to hear about it. Yeah.
Hi, Kelly. Okay. Good to see you. So one person wants to know if you tried to get a new phone or if you changed phones. It was absolutely 100%. It was so hard. Yes, Kelly, it was so hard not to attack Brandon. But I'll tell you something, and you and I both have talked about this before, how hard it was not to say anything to Stacey Wandra. Well, he was up there. I mean, even though he was going crazy off on Brandon, chat was still trying to be as respected. I know lots of people were telling Stacey Wandra, don't treat Brandy like that. But I mean, that was the hardest thing ever, is to keep your mouth shut, listening to Stacey Wandra go off on Brandy constantly. He was a monster. Truly saw the devil in him during that live. After Michael's abduction.
No, I pretty much had the same phone, the same number for quite a while.
Okay.
But I may or may not have some issues with some phone things that I got to sort out. Yeah, so it's a yes and no answer, to be honest.
Okay. A yes and no question. It can't be a yes and a no question. We know he got a new phone. No worries.
Technology pisses me off some days.
Some people want me to ask you again about your stop on the way out of the neighborhood. You said you guys pulled over to the side of the road.
Right. Yeah. The vehicle was stopped in the middle or on the side of the road for a short amount of time. Yes. For a brief moment.
On the way to Kuna when you were on your way to your mom's house, correct?
Right. When I was going to get my car before that, I'm pretty sure Stace said, "Hey, we need to pull over." One of the people in the truck or car said, "Hey, we need to pull over and check our..."
See, this is really strange to me right here at this spot when he's talking about Stacy, and it almost makes it sound like other people were in the car. We also know that there was a slip done by Stacey Wandra where he almost said Adrian's name and then stopped and didn't. Well, he said Adrian and then he stopped. And now Brandon almost makes it sound like other people were in the car too. So it really gets you guessing and wondering to yourself, see, now I'll be able to put together another video using Brandon and Stacy having to do with Adrian. Was he in the car? Did he go to Kuna? Did he have anything to do with that entire trip, the tow trip? I mean, listen to what Brandon just said here. Oh, I need to put up closed caption. Here we go. Now we'll be able to see it all.
In the middle or on the side of the road for a short amount of time. Yes.
Okay. First, let's go over this.
Right. Yeah. The vehicle was stopped in the middle or on the side of the road.
The vehicle was stopped in the middle or on the side of the road. That doesn't make sense. It's either in the middle or on the side for one. And why would you just in the middle of the road stop to put in power steering fluid? And if you're in the middle of the road, are you in the middle of the road because you're grabbing a child and putting them into the vehicle and taking off with the child? Because you wouldn't really want to pull off to the side of the road. You'd just be in the middle of the road, stop, grab a child, go, right? But he can't even decide if they're in the middle of the road or off to the side of the road. And Stacey Wandra has said that they pulled off. We've showed the spot where they say they've pulled off. We believe they may have pulled off there. But now, in the middle of the road, if you're abducting a child that you see, could you possibly be stopping in the middle of the road to do that?
For a short amount of time, yes.
And for a short amount of time, he makes sure, always to make sure something with his time. I've noticed with Brandon, he's very, very cautious about the things that he says about his time. So it's a short amount of time that they even pull over. Well, they're pulled over to the side of the road long enough to either grab a child or long enough to put in power steering. And we've heard Stacy say they were only pulled over to the side of the road in 30 seconds, yet he gives a description of the child, different places of where the child was, what the child was or wasn't playing with, where he was standing on the sidewalk in the yard, even though there isn't any sidewalks, and there's only one yard on 8th and Arizona. And He only says that one time to one creator, and all the rest of the times he said the child that he saw was on 8th, saying it was 4, 5, 6 houses down when there's no way in hell you could even see a child that far. And then mentions that he heard somebody hollering for the child. What makes you wonder if there's truth in that, because people are out searching for Monkey because he's missing. Did Stacy Wanderer hear somebody yelling for Michael? And is that why he all of a sudden, the last interview anybody ever did with him, with me and Brandy, he mentions hearing somebody call a child's name? All of that in 30 seconds. Doesn't make sense. But Brandon here, short amount of time, pulled over.
For a brief
And that was
moment.
on the way to Kuna when you were on your way to your mom's house, correct?
Right. When I was going to get my car before that, I'm pretty sure Stace said, "Hey, we need to pull over."
I'm pretty sure Stace said, "Hey, we need to pull over."
One of the people in the truck or
One of the people in the truck
car said, "Hey, we need to pull over and."
car said, "Hey, we need to pull over and check." So first he said Stace, and they said one of the other people in the car said, "Hey, we need to pull over and check." What other people in the car if there were only him, Sarah, and Stacy? He makes it sound like there's more people than that in the car.
Check our power steering real quick. If I am correct, I'm pretty sure that was what the issue was.
If I'm correct, I'm pretty sure that was what the issue was. And who was in the vehicle? That's what brought me to asking him who was in the vehicle, because I'm like, wait, what? Why does it sound like there's more people in the vehicle at that time?
I'm pretty sure it was.
And why is he thinking about it so long here? Him, Stacy, and Sarah. And he's having to think about it so hard. Why? Hair Curlers and Crime says, what did Brandon say about Stacy walking or talking about seeing a kid in a front yard? You know what? I don't know if we talk about that or not during this interview, or if I've even asked him about it. I'm not sure. I may have it in my recording. I don't know. Well, let's continue watching this, and then when we go over the recording, we'll find out. Callie Dime says, unless they actually parked on Arizona in front of the Newsom's home, then there was hardly any spot for them to pull over at the stop sign of 8th in Arizona. Exactly. And that is the only yard is there at their house. These are the Vaughn's neighbors that live on Arizona between 8th and 9th Street, where Stacy Wanderer finally does say there was a child in the yard across from the field, which would put him in their yard only because that is the only house on that block that's yard is facing the field. And he did that on Dolly Vision.
Stace, Sarah, me,
Okay. And he stops. What? Okay, this is weird. I ask him, who's all in the car? You were on your way to your mom's house, correct?
Right. When I was going to get my car before that, I'm pretty sure Stace said, "Hey, we need to pull over." One of the people in the truck or car said, "Hey, we need to pull over and check our power steering real quick." If I am correct, I'm pretty sure that was what the issue was.
And who was in the vehicle at that time? Listen how long he's
I'm pretty sure it was Stace, Sarah, me,
okay. And my dumb ass had to say something because I thought he was done talking, because only, Stacy and Sarah have ever been mentioned. I think he's done. So I say something to him when he says, me, and doesn't say another name. And who else could be in the vehicle if it wasn't Adrian? Michael. Did he almost slip and say Michael's name here? And I've heard this before. It was pointed out to me by somebody. They sent me the information. It may have been Callie, but that is huge, huge slip, because even though he didn't say a name, there was 4 people in that vehicle. Is what it sounds like to me. I want to hear that again. Hold on.
Stay, Sarah, me,
Okay.
and I think that was it.
And then he's like, and I think that was it. What do you mean you think that was it? Who else was in the vehicle, Brandon? This is just huge to me. Wow. Hair Curlers and Crime says, I really wish Misty would come back and chat with us. She does hold some info on rumors that are out there. Sarah Suspicious. Kelly, Hair Curlers and Crime, I'm wondering about Misty too. Same questions. I believe they do have some information, but I do not believe that they hold a ton of information. And some information may even be created information just because of, you know, their lifestyle. Okay.
I'm trying to go over details too, because sometimes we give people's rides.
And then here he goes. When he knows that he says something where he messes up, he gets kind of erratic.
And I'm trying to put a name to a face and go over kind of what I've been through or went along.
Yeah. When he gets all that weird wording going is after he gets flustered. Let's re-listen to this right here.
I'm pretty sure it was Stay, Sarah, me,
Okay.
and I think that was it.
Okay.
I'm trying to go over details too, because sometimes we give people's rides, and I'm trying to put a name.
Sometimes we give people rides, and I'm trying to name. Yeah. Well, sometimes you give people rides. So is he trying to say that he gave somebody a ride that day, that somebody else was in the car with them that day going to Cuna? I mean, he knows exactly who was in the vehicle with them on their way to Cuna when they had Michael. You would not forget that, Brandon.
Name to a face and go over kind of what I've been through or went along.
Going over kind of what I've been through, what you've been through. How about what the Vaughan family has been through? You have been through a nightmare because the fingers are now pointing at you because you're a suspect now in Michael's abduction and murder. That is what you've been through. But you have not lost your child. You have not been able to lay your child to rest. You have not wondered where your child is, what's happened to them, what horrific things happen to them. So let's not talk about what you've been through. Let's talk about the Vaughan family and what they've been through, which is a nightmare. Yeah, take your time, no worries. Who was driving the truck on the way to Cuna?
So I'm pretty sure Sarah was at that time.
Okay. Did you see a kid in the neighborhood anywhere when you pulled over to the side of the road?
I did not know, but I think I did remember, because I was the one that was probably going to get the power steering out and open the hood and go check it and this and that. And
Brandon says here at 54:45 47 timestamp. Brandon says he gets out of the vehicle. He gets the power steering fluid. He puts it in. Not Stacy, not what Stacy said. Brandon puts himself outside the vehicle also. And this is not fat shaming in any way, shape, or form. I am a big girl at 300 pounds, okay? Yes, I will put it out there. I weigh 300 pounds. But Brandon is the smallest out of the three suspects that we're talking about being in this car right now: Sarah, Stacy, Brandon. He gets out of the vehicle. I do not believe that Stacy could run after and pick up a child and get them back in the vehicle. And even though I'm a big girl, I'm still pretty fast. But could Sarah do it? I mean, out of the three suspects, the most likely person, if they were pulled over to the side of the road to take a child during this time, was Brandon the one that got out of the vehicle and took Michael? He's literally putting himself outside the vehicle. And that never has been said before this interview.
Other people would have been in the truck, you know.
Other people would have been in the truck. He wants to deflect away from the people that are in the truck so damn bad. He just other people, and he doesn't realize he wants to deflect away from saying Michael's name. He is telling himself, I can't say Michael's name. Michael was in the truck. He's got to deflect away from that so much that he won't even say Sarah and Stacy's name. It's other people. Or maybe Adrian was in the truck too. Who knows? I'm wondering, just like somebody else in here I saw a minute ago that said something about an extended cab. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was an extended cab, but I'm not 100%. There are pictures of the cab. I can't remember at this time, but Sarah was the one that was driving because Stacy said that he didn't want to drive. Sarah wanted to learn how to tow. He was tired from driving all day. But yeah, I'm kind of wondering what it was an extended cab now that I think about it. I'm remembering now. I'm pretty sure it was a 4-door Sierra. But other people, he's deflecting so much away from saying Michael's name. He can't say Michael's name. So it's just other people would have been in the truck, you know?
So they might have had a lookout and said that they might have seen.
And then here again, another slip right afterwards. He says, look out. Other people had to look out? What the hell? And this is a very, this is still in that 54-minute area. Lookout. Look out for what? Looking out to make sure nobody's around when you grab a child, Brandon? What do you need to look out for? Let's listen again.
But I think I did remember, because I was the one that was probably going to get the power steering out and open the hood and go check it and this and that. And the other people would have been in the truck, you know, so they might have had a lookout and said that they might have seen.
So the other people in the truck, and they might have had to look out. Let's see. Over to the side of the road.
But I think I did remember, because I was the one that was probably going to get the power steering out and open the hood and go check it and this and that. And the other people would have been in the truck.
And the other people would have been in the truck.
You know, so they might have had a lookout and.
You know, so they might had a lookout and said
that they might have seen somebody, or
that they might have seen somebody. Wow. Huge. Look out and seen somebody. It just blows my mind that he is giving so many slips and he may or may not have realized it afterwards. I believe he went back and watched this with a fine-tooth comb and realized what he did, and that's why he ran. I don't know that for sure, but geez, looked out and said that they might have seen somebody or
this or that. So, I mean,
this or that word that he ends up getting me to end up saying several times in the live, and I hated it, but it was just on my mind, this or that they might have seen somebody or this or that. So they're looking out and they might have seen somebody. Seen who? Is he talking about the child that Stacy mentioned seeing here? Wow, this is just huge to me.
I do remember something being said about that, but was it the
And I do remember something being said about that. And he's talking about, seeing somebody.
little kid, the 5-year-old missing boy that was on the thing later that day? No, I did not see him at that time. In fact, about that, but was it the little kid, the 5-year-old missing boy that was on the thing later that day? No, I did not see him at that time. In fact,
His name is Michael Vaughan, Brandon, not just the 5-year-old kid, because he can't say Michael's name for some reason. Usually a sign of guilt, usually a sign of he's got involvement, knowledge of something.
I did remember after he did come up missing that someone seen flyers of him at a laundromat or this or that or something. I remember something along those lines too. But
Flyers at a laundromat, and he's mentioning that those flyers at the laundromat, these pictures or these flyers that were at the laundromat that he's speaking about was around the corner from the Wanderer's house, and those flyers were, what is the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh. Vandalized in a very awful way of poor Michael's face. And flyers, like, not funny. And how does he know about it? Did he see something about it? Does somebody say something about it on the live? Or does he have something to do with that, with those flyers? And why would he even be talking about whether or not they saw some little boy in the neighborhood and that it wasn't, he didn't see 5-year-old little boy. It wasn't Michael, even though he doesn't say his name at that time. Exactly. He says at that time. Let's rewind. Listen to all of it again. Let's see.
Steering out and open the hood and go check it and this and that. And the other people would have been in the truck, so they might have had a lookout and said that they might have seen somebody or this or that. So, I mean.
So there we have, they may have seen somebody or this or that. He's talking about there being a lookout.
I do remember something being said about that, but was it the little kid, the 5-year-old?
So he remembers something being said about a child that was seen, but was it the little kid, the 5-year-old missing, which Michael Vaughan, he's saying no, it wasn't him.
Missing boy that was on the thing later that day? No, I did not see him at that time. In fact,
no, I did not see him at that time. Wow, you guys are good. At that time. Because I got to make a note to myself to make sure not to leave that part out. Because at another place that we have already went over, he mentions Michael and never seen Michael ever until that day, he says. Remember that, you guys? So here again, he's mentioning the little boy and then says, I did not see him at that time. Wow. Thank you guys so much, because that is huge. His wording, it's just crazy. The biggest mistake I think Brandon ever made was ever getting on panel. That's for sure.
Fact is, I did remember after he did come up missing that someone seen flyers of him at a laundromat or this or that or something. I remember something.
At the laundromat or this and that, because that's what he says. Again, he's talking about flyers that were vandalized of Michael's beautiful face. It was very awful to have been done, holes poked in the flyers, you name it. I want to know how he knows that. Did him, Stacy, Sarah, somebody, like, how does he know about those flyers?
Along those lines too. But
Right.
I'm just trying to put all my times together.
I'm trying to put all my times together. Thank you, Brandon. Even though he doesn't. Distancing with the name and then says at that time. Exactly, Jemima. He can't say Michael's name. None of them have been able to, really. Sarah and Stacy had one on their fridge. He's seen the flyer in their house. You would think. Yeah, it was hanging up on their refrigerator. We've seen that during a TikTok that Sarah Wandra did when Michael's flyer is off there in the background. And Stacy using Michael's profile picture on his Facebook. How would he only see it at a laundromat? Very good point, Sarah. McSporran from Scotland is in the house. Thank you so much for coming. Shannon says, you can tell when he gets nervous, he won't say Michael's name, and he says that boy. Yep. And then McSporran is just saying hi to everybody. Sarah says, strange he would bring up the flyer in the laundromat. Exactly. And what does he know about that flyer? I mean, it was vandalized. It wasn't, it was right around the corner. Brandy's probably the one who put that flyer up in that laundromat, considering that it's right there in that neighborhood, because we know she has gone out and put flyers everywhere around that entire area. And it's a vandalized. Who does that to a missing child flyer?
Like I say.
All right. Who got out of the vehicle, if anybody got out of the vehicle, to put in the power steering fluid? I have to make sure that I heard him correctly, because he's already put himself out of the vehicle. And now I'm thinking, I want him to say he did it. I want Brandon, at this time, I wanted Brandon to say, I put in the power steering. I wanted law enforcement now to be able to have this, to go over and hear Brandon talk about being out of the car.
I'm pretty sure I went out and helped him with it.
Earlier, he said he got out, got the power steering, put the power steering fluid in. This time, long pause, doesn't really know what to say, and then says he thinks he did and helped him with it, and put Stacy outside the vehicle as well. Now he's helping Stacy instead of just doing it himself. He's helping Stacy do it. Put in the power steering fluid.
I'm pretty sure I went out and helped him with it.
I'm pretty sure I went out and helped them with it. Does he say them? Because the closed caption says them. Or did he say him? Helped them or him? Let's listen closely. Wow. Put in the power steering fluid.
I'm pretty sure I went out and helped him with it.
Oh, I'm hearing him. I'm pretty sure I went out and helped him with it. Maybe that's just the closed caption. But Brandon is definitely putting himself outside the vehicle here. Okay. All right.
So I don't exactly know who all came out and checked, but there's just a lot of things to go over. But I'm pretty sure I helped him pop it off and pour it in there that day.
So
if
you
I
and
remember.
Stacy. I don't think that Brandon was still working at Domino's Pizza during this time. That was a job that he had, I think, prior to Michael's disappearance. But I don't believe Brandon was working Domino's Pizza at the time. I'm not positive about that, Slim, which, by the way, good to see you here. Shorty's in the house also. Yeah, I'm not sure about the Domino's Pizza. I know he wasn't working at Domino's Pizza at the time, and I'm not sure when he quit working for Domino's Pizza.
Right.
Did the
Yeah.
fluids? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And no, Sarah, Stacy actually says that he gets out of the vehicle and puts the power steering fluid in, and that Sarah and Brandon stay in the vehicle. And then he's asked if Brandon and Sarah see the child that he saw, and he says no at first. And then he says, yo, no, you know what? I think they did. So, yeah, he never puts Brandon outside the vehicle to help him put in the power steering fluid. And let me look through chat here real quick. You said you made a stop at a gas station out of town, right?
Well, it was still in Fruitland town, so we went over there and put $20 in for gas, or put a couple gallons in. I don't quite remember. I'm gonna see if I can go over receipts and look.
He's going to go over receipts 3.5 years later. I don't believe he even has those receipts to go over. The whole statement is a lie. And what is there to lie about? And then he thinks that it's just a couple gallons. And there's been lots of questions about whether or not, you know, Stacy Wandra was panhandling for money to put gas in the vehicle on the way to Cuna. I do not, allegedly, by the way, I do not know for a fact whether he was or not, but lots of people, it has been mentioned and has been spoken about. So getting only a couple of gallons of gas, going to the gas station, getting a couple gallons of gas, which Stacy completely denies ever stopping there to get gas on the way to Cuna. He actually says that they had a full tank of gas. So which one is it?
Or whatever, or it might have just been cash. I don't know.
Okay.
But I remember we had to stop and get a little bit of fuel before we took off and hit the freeway because, you know, you don't want to be running out of fuel on the freeway.
And it almost sounds like there's like this problem. There's something going on here about getting the gas. Let's rewind again. Geez, it's like every 10 seconds.
And then I don't quite remember.
Let me see. I hate going back too far. Station out of town, right?
Well, it was still in Fruitland town, so we went over there and put $20 in for gas, or
put $20 in for gas, or
put a couple gallons in.
Or put a couple gallons in. So what is it? $20 or a couple gallons? $20 is going to get you more than a couple gallons.
Quite remember. I'm gonna see if I can go over receipts.
He can't remember, so he's going to go over receipts
and look or whatever, or it might have just been cash. I don't know.
Or it might have just been cash. I don't know. Well, they didn't mention anything about whether the $20 was for cash or card or not. And he knows that he just mentioned receipts, so he's having to backtrack here talking about cash. Okay.
But I remember.
Why so nervous talking about getting gas at the gas station? You need gas to get to Cuna. You stopped and you got gas and you went to Cuna. But why the big story? Why the, oh, I think we put $20 in, or maybe we just put a couple of gallons in and it may have been with cash or not. I don't know. I'll have to remember. I have to get out receipts. Da 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 da. Always some kind of story. Always some kind of story with him.
Remember, we had to stop and get a little bit of fuel before we took off and hit the freeway because, you know, you don't want to be running out of fuel on the freeway.
And that's exactly what he could have just said right from the very beginning. Instead, he gives this huge, long explanation which makes it look like he's hiding something. So what is there to hide about going to the gas station and getting gas before going to Cuna? Why doesn't Stacy want to talk about the fact that they went to the gas station before going to Cuna? Because it's true. You don't want to run out of fuel on the freeway. You got to get gas before you take off. Right. Did you guys go in the gas station for anything?
If we did, it would have been for.
If we did. There we go. He doesn't ever give a straight answer or not. If we did, we would have been there.
Just gas, maybe grab a drink or something. I don't know.
Maybe grab a drink or something. I don't know. Okay.
But other than that, not a long stay, no.
And then he has to, add even more. And this is him with his weird time shit that, but either way, didn't stay long though. Not a long stay now. Not a long stay. Nobody asked you how long you stayed there. No one asked you if you were there for a long period of time. Why would you have had to been there for a long period of time if you were just there to get gas and maybe go in and buy a drink? He's very weird about the time stuff. And if Stacy had to stand there and panhandle it all for money, they would have actually been there a little while longer. So why not a long stay? Okay. Somebody is asking in chat if you went to Portland a couple of weeks after Michael's abduction. This question is being asked because at a time Stacy Wandra had, let people see some timestamps and stuff from his phone that Eve helped him work out with. Crime Sleuth ends up going over the timestamps with a few other creators, and they see that there is some trip to Portland on Stacy's GPS information or whatever, and timestamps or whatever you want to call it, from his phone. So yeah, ask Brandon if he went to Portland a couple weeks after.
I am not quite sure on that, and I will look into more detail on that in the future.
He did not want to talk about the trip to Portland. This is what he does. I'll talk about that at another time. I'll have to look into that. What are you going to look into? What information do you have to look into, Brandon? You either know that you went to Portland or you don't. Look into more detail on that in the future. Okay. Brandon, you better start getting your ducks in a row because you are going to be buried alive by attorneys in court. You better take that plea deal. Nothing you say makes sense. Just letting you know that right now. Your best bet is to take that plea deal because all of the stuff that you're saying, you're going to see the firing squad. Just FYI. Thank you. A lot of people still asking.
But I'm pretty sure no.
Okay. So no, you're saying no, you didn't go to Portland?
Like I've been there before in my life, but I'm just trying to think about over the times and this and that. So, I mean,
over the times and this and that, and I've been to Portland before, and he's totally, so are you saying you didn't, or you did go to Portland that day? Like, just answer that one question.
We'll get back to that later. But as far as after an abduction happened, did I take off to Portland? No, I don't remember doing that because I don't know why I would have wanted to do that. But I have been there.
I don't know why I would have wanted to do that. But I have been there
before in my life, so it's a mix up of all these different things whenever I look at questions and analyze and go in,
So he's saying that, whenever I have to look at questions, so he's admitting that he's looking at this question, thinking about this question. He even says, and analyze. So he's listening to the question and he's trying to create an answer as he's listening and analyzing it. That is at 58:16. I think that is analyzing questions is what I'm writing down, because that's what he's doing. And he admits to doing it. How strange is that? Why?
So you got to think, I don't always think how every other person thinks. I might go more into depth on it and break it down and see what's the right
And he might go into depth more on it and break it down and see what's the rhyme
time to the reason
to the reason
of a reason, and just kind of.
to the reason of a reason, Oh my God, Brandon. He sounds a little ADHD, honestly. And I don't mean that meanly in any way, shape, or form, but his mind's going a million miles an hour here. Yeah.
There's a lot to think about on something.
A lot to think about. A lot to think about. All of your analyzing you're doing to all of the questions that you're being asked, because you don't want to slip. And as you don't want to slip, you slip a hell of a lot more than you think you do. And you realize that after you listen to the live. I'm just going through, questions, and they may Brandon Gump may be valid, they may not be valid, in chat. People have their own assumptions, their own theories, their own this, and like, for instance, I don't know what this would have to do anything, but somebody is asking if it says, did he leave a cup in the field where he looked for Michael?
Not only no, but hell no. I wouldn't think that would be a very good thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know what leaving a cup in a field has to do with anything, but
Unless you're drinking on the job, and that's not permitted. Water only.
other people were asking too, did you live with Stacy and Sarah?
So I never.
Just hearing him laugh and talking like that is just, I want everybody to know that laughing Brandon, that giggling, that telling the joke, that voice, that attitude right there, that's the Brandon on the phone with me when we're talking. That's the Brandon that I was seen in messages. That's more him. The rest of this Brandon, this and that, and the way that he's talking, even Dan Guthrie said that the way that he talked to me was just so strange during this interview, because he just doesn't even sound like himself. And it's true right here when he's laughing and joking and that's him being himself. That's a moment of him feeling comfortable here on panel. And he only does it a couple of times, but that right there is the real Brandon.
I never lived with them, but I did stay there on the weekends occasionally.
Hold on one second. Let me check this message. Let me just rewind just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit.
Unless you're drinking on the job, and that's not permitted. Water only.
Other people were asking too, did you live with Stacy and Sarah?
So I never lived with them, but I did stay there.
To your word salad. Love that.
On the weekends occasionally, after I first met him, and up until the point of maybe even a couple of weekends, but not like one weekend after another, just off and on. Whenever I get tired, I go hang out, crash.
So Brandon lived with a Wanderess. We know that he did. He deflects away from the time that he spent at the Wanderer's house, staying there. But we also know that he went and he stayed with his mom every now and then, or if he's hooking up with a girl or whatever. But Brandon, we know you lived with them. We know you were there staying the night all the time. So he just wants to deflect away from the Wanderers and being there often, probably so that he can make sure to say, I don't know, I wasn't there, I wasn't staying the night at that time or whatever. Good to see you, Ashley. Thank you for coming in.
Talk with him for a little bit, try to be, somewhat decent and civil. But like I
Right.
said, that was before all this other shit got strange and things took a dive off the deep end,
Mixborn says someone's with him here. He's careful, even though he's thick, when he from his handler to watch what he is saying. He isn't with that guy during this interview. He's actually here with Misty. Misty's in the room with him. His now ex-girlfriend was here. Dan, though, did say that he felt like Brandon wasn't himself during this interview because Misty was there and may have been, not wanting him to answer certain questions or whatever. I don't believe that anybody was there telling him what he could and couldn't answer, because I don't think I just don't think that anybody was there telling him what he could and couldn't answer. I don't. Misty doesn't even know too much about the case. I mean, she wasn't even around when Michael Vaughan disappeared, and I don't think she knows the case inside and out like some of us do to even be able to tell him what he could or couldn't answer anyway.
So you got to pay close attention who you're getting to know, what you're getting to know, and because
His friend came after the fact. It was after he left Livingston, Montana, when Dan said that his handler, the guy that he was with, acting like his wife or whatever, wasn't allowing him to talk to people. And that was people like me, people like Dan, people like Misty, trying to get a hold of him, find out where he's at, what he's doing, because he stopped talking to everybody. We all actually thought at one point we were blocked from Brandon. And this guy, Eric, that he was with, a person he used to do landscaping before, actually a person that he had hung out with a couple of days after Michael's abduction, is who he ends up with after he freaks out and leaves Livingston, Montana, which I find quite odd, along with a few other people, because why end up with that person that you hung out with after Michael disappeared or was abducted? I mean, that guy did not like Brandon talking to anybody. He even told Brandon at one point, according to Dan, stop talking or I'm going to effing slap you. Why didn't that guy want Brandon talking to anybody about Michael or Michael's case or anything having to do with Michael? It ain't any of his business. What does he know? Is he afraid of getting in trouble? Did he help Brandon do anything? We know law enforcement said that these are the 4 suspects and that there could be other people. Is Eric one of them? We don't know. We're not privileged to that info.
a lot more to talk about on that. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Where did you sleep when you did stay the night? I mean, did you have your own room there or anything? Did you ever pay rent?
Not really, no.
So where did you sleep when you stayed the night?
So if I went over there to hang out, I'd probably crash out on the couch or the floor, this or that or something. I mean, up until later
This or that or something.
times we did discuss about me moving in, maybe paying rent, maybe getting a room of my own, all that stuff. That was a future plan, maybe in progress if, we got a good business going or this or that or become successful. And that's a pretty big goal to just be working towards, especially overnight,
Yeah. You know, and I know that Sarah, Stacy, they both end up in jail and whatnot, you know, after all of this. And there was furniture there in the house. Do you know what happened to the mattress that was on the living room floor there? This is what somebody's asking. Do you know where the bed and the living room floor went? So I don't know anything about a mattress, so.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds strange.
And he's like, I don't know. It sounds strange. I mean, there were several things that were in that house that just straight up disappeared. Nobody knows where the stuff is. And Stacy and Sarah both end up in jail at one point. It's like, where's the mattress? And why does he think that this sounds strange? You either do or don't know where the mattress went, and it's just a simple question, once again, that he, you know, kind of fishes around, not wanting to answer.
And I don't know. We can visit that at another time, but just right off the top of my head, do I know where a mattress is or went? No.
Misty didn't even know about Michael Vaughan's abduction. According to her, she never heard about it or anything until Brandon told her about it. I told her about Stacy when he found out she was talking to Stacy as they were laying in bed one night, and he looked over and saw her phone. She did not know anything about even Brandon being a suspect until a little while after dating him. Yeah, okay. She says, did you ever see Stacy beg people for money, gas money, or anything like that?
So I know as a group we might have needed help with that issue one time before here or there, but as far as like going out and just begging for people
Before here or there. He doesn't want to answer that question. Did you ever see Stacy beg people for money, gas money, or anything like that?
So I know as a group we might have needed help with that issue.
As a group, we might have needed help with that issue. So he's saying not just Stacy, but as a group, we might have needed help with that issue.
One time.
One time.
Before here or there, but as far as like
Before here or there, but as far as
going
like
out and just begging for people for it, I don't know if it got that bad or not, but
he doesn't know if it got that bad or not, that they, you know, had to beg for money. But that's what it is, right? You're begging for money if you're panhandling for money for gas or anything else. You're begging for money. Some people have to do it, you know, for their lives, for food, for drink, or whatever. I'm not criticizing anybody that would have to do it. He just seems to not want to admit it, or admit it and then have to try to cover for it.
I did hear something kind of like that before, yeah.
Okay. No, I can't even think about what the state of their mattresses was in Jemima, for real. Gross. The way that she was boinking all the guys in the house. I'm just scrolling through chats while I'm doing. That's why I'm pausing. Do you know who the Pope twins are? Gabriel and Christian? So Gabriel and Christian are Pope twins. They're actually twins from Twin Fall, Idaho. They are twins, gang members out of Twin Fall, Idaho, that know Adrian Lucian. Adrian Lucian accused them of having something to do with Michael Vaughan's abduction and murder. One of those Pope twins got so pissed off when they heard what Adrian was saying about them that they talked to somebody, and that somebody took a recording, and they threatened, I didn't kill that kid, I didn't do anything to that kid. pretty much threatening Adrian's life if he continued to throw him and his brother under the bus. Now, question would be here. Adrian is a suspect of Michael Vaughan's abduction. So is Sarah, Stacy, and Brandon. He could have easily have thrown them under the bus when he talked about Michael's abduction, but he doesn't. He mentions two other people, the Pope twins, Gabriel and Christian. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you bring even more people? You've already got 3 people that you could throw under the bus. Why are you even mentioning other people? Now, great Gabriel and Christian are both incarcerated, I believe, still. Very violent criminals, gang members. And they're, I don't know if it's an adopted mom or a real mom, but from what I understand, she has ties to S trafficking. So, does Gabriel and Christian also have the same ties for S trafficking? Was Adrian involved in any of that with Gabriel and Christian or their mother? We don't know. But they're mentioned, which was huge. And I went off about this months and months back when I kept talking about the Pope twins, who they were and everything else, because this connection to Adrian and the fact that Michael was abducted, so many people have talked about whether or not Michael was taken so that they could sell him into S trafficking, which is horrible. I get it. It's a trigger warning for everybody. Please protect your mental health. This is one of the reasons why that turned into such a big discussion on my channel and other channels here on YouTube, because there are some really shady people connected to Adrian Lucien. Now, were they wanting to S traffic a child or just S traffic a young woman? We don't know. I believe they were looking, since they were at a mall, at a skate park where teenagers hang out, that they were looking for a young woman, and one of them took it upon themselves to take Michael because he was there alone. Made that decision on themselves, and I believe that's why they fought, why there was a huge fight before they left to go to Cuna. It was over a child being taken when the discussion was about taking a young woman. And this is all my own theory, my own speculation, my own opinion. But I just want you guys to know who the Pope twins are, why they're mentioned, why they've been talked about, why S trafficking has been talked about so many times in the Vaughan case. There's no reason for Adrian Lucien to be throwing these Pope twins under the bus when there's 3 other people that are suspects. It's very suspicious and really makes you wonder, what the hell? And when we know there are 16 RSOs connected to these suspects, 6 of them directly involved with Brandon Shurtliff and Adrian Lucien, who are some of the most horrible RSOs, makes it even worse and more suspicious. Because you have Brandon and Adrian in other locations outside of Fruitland when Brandon's hanging out at another motocross outside of Twin Falls. When you have deals going down for certain math, we'll just say math instead of the other, deals or drug deals going down in other cities. And the only 2 people that are around are Adrian and Brandon. And we've wondered whether or not and if that's when Brandon and Adrian end up meeting each other or coming together to make up this plan, if it was their plan, to do some kind of S trafficking. I mean, shit goes deep in Michael's case. We've all heard the rumors. We've all heard the talk. We've all heard all of this. Why did Adrian Lucien mention the Pope twins? That's my question. And if you're listening, Adrian, that's what I want to know. Why'd you even mention the Pope twins? Because now you got them pissed off. Let me see who is here in chat. Jemima says Stacy used to beg for gas by telling people his wife was in labor. Oh, Jews. That is horrible. Callie Dime, hair curlers and crime. She knows a lot more, in my opinion, and I wouldn't be surprised if she had contact with Stacy. Yeah, Misty. I don't know what she knows. And I honestly sometimes don't feel like she knows more, but I don't know. Let's just see. I wonder if travel agent Stacy had contact with the Pope twins' mother. Yep, I don't know. It really does make you wonder, though, about the Pope twins, about the whole situation, about the people that Adrian met. Is Adrian's only, involvement here trying to plan some ladies of the night, some kind of prostitution, some kind of S trafficking, and then when a child's brought into the picture, hell to the no, this is not what we discussed, this is not what we were supposed to do, I'm out of here? Because that's what I'm kind of thinking. He really is the only one that talks about, being set up, and what went down isn't what was supposed to go down. And he has said that over and over. And he probably did feel set up if the plan was to do something different. And then somebody comes in with Michael.
So I've never met those guys personally, but I have heard that it might be a YouTube channel or something.
And then Brandon says it might be a YouTube or something. He doesn't even know who the heck I'm talking about. And for some reason right here, I believe him. I mean, it would be pretty ignorant of him to just act like, okay, some YouTuber or something. No, it's not a YouTuber. Yeah, I know.
But I never met those people in person yet that I can recall now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, they're not a YouTube channel. They're actually gang members from Twin Falls. I've spoken about them before, and I'm pretty sure that's why somebody in chat's asking if you knew who they were. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say I don't think I've met them.
Okay. Another question. Did you stay at Sarah and Stacy's house the night of Michael's abduction?
I don't know. I have to get back with you on that one too. Like I say, there's a lot of.
He does not talk about staying the night at the Wanderer's house. And now we have heard from Misty and from Dan that he told them that he left the Wanderer's house that night to go stay at his mom's house. And we don't know. Did they leave Michael and Kuna alive and then come back to Fruitland, and then Brandon went back to an alive Michael, and then he hurt Michael? We heard about them taking Michael back to Fruitland the next morning. Did he or didn't he go back to Kuna that night? If Michael was deceased and then they came back to Fruitland, Would he have gone back to a deceased Michael to maybe hide any evidence, clean the place up, do anything like that? Because somebody's watching his mom's house. He's worried somebody's going to find Michael in the house or whatever. We know cadaver dogs hit at Tina's house. Something went down there. Something did. And then we have heard stories that alarms were set, alarm clocks, so they could get up early, him and Sarah, to go back to Cuna the next morning. Chris Madonna even says, why did they go back to the house the next morning and bring him back here? So did Brandon go there and stay for a while and then come back home and then set an alarm clock? Is that the reason he would have to set an alarm clock? Is because he's so tired from being up all night over at his mom's house, running around, needs to set an alarm clock to get up, to go back over there, which was what? Supposed to be for putting his clothes in the dryer and finish washing his clothes? That's the excuse. You drive that far for that when there's a laundromat across from where you live. We've already heard him mention it, and there's a washer and dryer there at the Wanderer's house. He doesn't like their water there, so he gets water at his mom's house. Was the water not good for him to wash his clothes there either? Give me a damn break. Lies, lies, and more lies. So many questions that I have here. You know, when you're sitting here theorizing about what could have actually happened and what he was doing, why would Brandon leave the Wanderers that night and go back to Cuna if they'd already towed his car? And what vehicle did he drive? Did he still have the van at that time, his van? Or did he use one of the other cars, the taxi cars, the cars that he usually drove? Yeah, Callie, way too much of a coincidence. And how did he put that to Misty? That he wasn't getting along with the Wanderers that night, so he went back to his mom's house to stay the night. And he kind of told the same thing to Dan. And remind you guys, Dan and Misty don't like each other, okay? They don't get along. You have two different people telling the same story that they both said that Brandon told them, when those two people don't even get along. So it's not like a story Dan and Misty came together to say. That's not how that went down. These are different conversations that Brandon had with two different people, and they're both saying the same damn thing. But he's totally denying here in this interview going back to Cuna. And what does he say here? I mean, even his wording, again, deflection from the truth. I believe he does that whole, I don't know, I have to get back to you stuff. Another question, did you stay at Sarah and Stacy's house the night of Michael's abduction?
I don't know. I have to get back with you on that one too.
I don't know. I have to get back to you on that one too. He doesn't know whether or not he stayed the night there, which is a crock, because he knows where he was the day that Michael was abducted. He had knowledge. He saw something. He knows something. It wasn't just an ordinary day like these suspects want you to believe. This was a day they're all going to remember for the rest of their lives because a child was abducted. And he does not want to say whether or not he stayed the night at the Wanderer's house. I do believe he went back to Cuna that night. I do believe Dan and Misty when they say that that's what Brandon told them.
Like I say, that's a good question to go over.
Like I say, there's a lot of, and then he stops. That's a good question to go over.
But I got to look into that more.
I got to look into that more. What do you got to look into? You can't look into it. It's already happened. What you got to do is go into your mind and go back in the time and remember what you did. And since it was not an ordinary day, we already know that you know that. And that's why he shows so much deflection here. Okay. I know these aren't questions that you and I talked about yesterday. You I could tell just from the way he was acting, getting the quiet, more and more quiet, that he was very uncomfortable with that question because it wasn't something, because I told him, we'll get on panel, we'll talk, I'll ask you the same questions that we've already gone over. Then I asked him if we could ask him questions from chat. He agreed to that, which I was not expecting, but at the same time, kind of throwing him under the bus so that there could be more questions that I could ask or from chat, so that, you know, other questions that I had from after interviewing him the day before, I could still ask and him think that it was coming from chat. Do you see what I mean? I needed to ask more questions. Yes, and like Kelly says, he agreed that it was a good question. It is a good question. Where were you? Where were you? What'd you do after Michael's abduction? Agreed that you wouldn't mind me going through chat, so I'm just going through chat and seeing what people have to say here. I can tell you're getting a little bit nervous. So let me see.
Yeah, like I say, the whole thing after somebody says what they say in the way or fashion that they've said it, that does make me nervous after that, especially if your picture comes up on the news as something that you didn't have a part of or didn't even see happen. That would make me pretty nervous.
You didn't have a part of or even see happen. That would make me pretty nervous. And he mentions all of this when he wasn't even really asked about it, right?
Nervous, yeah. But as far as like this being over, I don't believe that it is over. I believe that it is still ongoing. Things do need to happen. Things do need to take place. And I'm helping myself look through all that so I can help others look through all that. And they're not giving up, so I'm not giving up, And I think that he could maybe even be alive, could still be found, this and that. I've found some.
Just the fact that he wants to sit here and act like he's helping when he knows he's not helping, when he knows he's creating bullshit stories, when he's lying, when he then sits here and says that maybe Michael's even alive, when he already knows Michael is deceased. This is all disgusting. He wants to be what? He wants to look like the good guy here, because he's the good guy on the block. Remember him saying that, Sarah and everything, and Sarah thought I was the good guy on the block or whatever. No, he's not the good guy here. He's not trying to help. If he wanted to help, he'd go in and talk to law enforcement. He'd take the plea deal. He'd say where Michael is. That is the truth. This is just word salad with ranch.
Stories to be false and just total BS, and they'll put me up and say I'm full of BS, but really,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot to go over, especially on that one day, because that's, and I think that he could maybe even be alive, could still be found, this and that. And things do need to take place, and I'm something that
So let me see. Cool guy on the block, yeah.
Yeah, like I say, the whole thing after somebody says what they say in the way or fashion that they've said it, that does make me nervous after that, especially if your picture comes up on the news as something that
It makes him nervous when people say things a certain way, is basically what he's saying. And then when his name comes up on the news,
you didn't have a part of or didn't even see happen. That would make me pretty nervous. Yeah. But as far as like this being over, I don't believe that it is over. I believe that it is still ongoing. Things do need to happen. Things do need to take place. And I'm helping myself look through all that so I can help others look through all that. And they're not giving up, so I'm not giving up, And I think that he could maybe even be alive, could.
and here. And I think that he could maybe even be alive. maybe, could maybe even be alive. He doesn't even sound very sure of himself there, because he knows Michael is deceased. Even the news had reported it by this time, so he knows that Michael's deceased, but he still wants people to think that maybe Michael's out there alive because he doesn't want people focusing on him. Sorry, Brandon, you're a suspect in Michael Vaughan's abduction and murder. Where the hell is Michael?
Still be found, this and that. I've found some stories to be false and just total BS, and they'll put me up and say I'm full of BS, but really, you know.
Some people pull him up, say things about him, and he thinks that it's BS. And then they put me up and say I'm full of BS. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. We only call BS, Brandon, on your stuff when we know for a fact that it's BS. When we see the contradictions in your own damn stories, or when we see you and Stacy saying the opposite things, wondering who's telling the truth and who's not, and you getting called out on your BS because you're a suspect that was dumb enough not to take a plea deal when charges are coming. It's inevitable. You will be arrested, you will go to prison, and you will stay there until they sentence you to life in prison, to the death penalty, whatever the judge, whatever the jury decides to do. That is a fact. I don't even know what he's saying either, Jemima. What the hell? His words don't make sense. It's aggravating to sit here and listen to all of this. He wants to sit here and act like he's helping, but he's not helping. He's helping with nothing.
There's a lot to go over, especially on that one day, because that's where the details really matter the most. And
Right.
like I say,
Okay, so especially the details about that day. The details really matter the most on that day, he says. What details does he have about that day that can help Michael's case if he had nothing to do with it? If he is completely innocent, if he has never seen Michael before in his life like he claims, how could any of the details that he have help Michael, help the case, help anybody that he's sitting here saying he's trying to help by remembering, by going back, by thinking about things, by thinking about this and that? If he had nothing to do with it, there would be nothing for him to go back and think about. There would be no details. He would know nothing. He would say he knew nothing, and that's it. But instead, he gives us a bunch of bullshit.
that one particular day was 4 years ago, so I really got to just think about it better and go over it.
And then, of course, just like other suspects, Stacy has already done the same thing. This was 4 years ago. Well, it's not 4 years yet. It will be soon. This July, 4 years, Michael Vaughan has been gone. Away from his family. And he's, using this as an excuse for not remembering everything, but he can remember the breakfast that he ate the morning of Michael's abduction. He can remember pulling off to the side of the road to put in power steering fluid. He can remember going to Cuna to tow his car back. He can remember that he was the one towing the tow strap. He can remember that Stacy was inside the house and that Sarah was sitting inside the truck. He can remember that Sarah was the one driving the truck. He can remember that they pulled off to the side of the road and that the tow strap broke. He can't remember that he went over to his mom's house later that night. He can't remember details that he's too scared to talk about because Brandon Shurtliff is a coward. He can remember so much. He can remember going and getting gas before they went to Cuna. He can remember going and getting milk that night, standing in line. He can remember feeling panicked when they got back after hearing that Michael, a child in the neighborhood, had came up missing and that everybody was looking for him. Brandon, how come you can't remember the important questions?
Or better,
Right.
and but as far as anything happening under the side of my eyes, I'm pretty sure no. So if
Okay.
that helps ease minds and take troubles away and worries, and I just
It does. Everybody in chat is super happy that you're here, that you're talking. I don't know what information just came up on my computer. I've got to stop sharing. We're going to be done right there anyway, because we are over the 2-hour mark. What the heck was that? Hold on. I got to sit here and wonder. I had to close that out because I don't know what that was. Weird. I hit a button with my finger and I don't know what it was. And information started to come up, and I don't know if it had any of my personal stuff. But hey, Toaster, thank you for coming in. You'll have to be on the replay crew. We did hear lots more slips. But we're 2 hours in. We'll have to come back because we're having to stop like every 10-15 seconds, and then he gets me going, and then I got to keep talking, and I got to talk about the bullshit that he's talking about, because it's all BS. Every bit of it is BS. His words don't make sense. Now we're calling it word salad. We're adding the ranch because it's all a bunch of crap. Brandy wants to know where her son is. The Vaughan family wants to know where Michael Vaughan is. Michael deserves justice. The family deserves peace. It's time for you to start talking.
And Brandon, you know what happened to our beautiful baby. Whether you were directly involved, but you need to start talking. You need to come forward. Quit lying, quit hiding. Please tell us where Michael is. Let our family have some rest, please. Let us bring our baby home. We've worked tirelessly, endlessly. Law enforcement, stop protecting these criminals. It's time to tell the truth. It's time to own up. It's time to find Michael and bring him home and stop your BS.
Bringing Monkey home is the only thing we want right now, so he can be laid to rest, so his family can have some kind of peace by laying him to rest, the way that Michael deserves to be laid to rest. Michael deserves for his loved ones to be around, to bury him, to get a loving stone put up. It was not right that Michael was taken the way that he was, and that he died the way that he did, and that the Vaughan family is still suffering. Michael Vaughan, 5-year-old, blonde hair, blue eyes, beautiful, beautiful child, was abducted by Stacy Wandra, Sarah Wandra, Adrian Lucian, and Brandon Shurtliff. Those are the 4 suspects in Michael Vaughan's abduction and murder. One of those suspects abducted him. One of them murdered him. One of them buried in the Wanderer's yard. One of them knows exactly where he is now, because Michael's body was moved from the Wandra's yard to an unknown location. I'm getting sick and tired of having to listen to recordings of Brandy beg and plea with people, with suspects, to please tell them where Michael is. Somebody knows where he is, and they need to come forward. If you have any information about Michael's abduction, if you have any information about the 4 suspects, please call the tip line 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. You can collect over $52,000. That's a big chunk of change. If you have information that will lead them to where Monkey is, you can remain anonymous. If you're in the area, if you're scared, you can grab a friend and go into the Fruitland Police Department. And for the suspects, charges are coming. Y'all are freaking cowards. Kicking back, thinking nothing's ever going to happen to you. You don't have to say anything. We've gotten away with it. Those just aren't the facts, because the charges have already been drawn up against you. They want to find Michael. And when they find Michael, that's going to be your nail in the coffin. Brandon, I guarantee you, not taking the plea deal, it would be the stupidest thing for you. It really would. Take the plea deal. Tell law enforcement where Monkey is. Because you're going to spend life in prison or spend time in prison anyway. You might as well come forward and tell law enforcement what you know. Adrian, if you're listening, tell law enforcement what happened. Tell them what you witnessed. Tell law enforcement how you were set up. It's time for you to come forward. You're running and hiding from law enforcement too. All because you're afraid that you're going to go down for something that other people did, when in all actuality, all you need to do is come forward, tell law enforcement what you know, and you could be Monkey's hero. And I know you want to be Monkey's hero because you continuously come into my Michael Vaughan Facebook group. You're constantly checking in, putting up your hearts with the arrows through it like you do. I know you're watching. I know you're stalking me, looking at my Facebook. I know you're out there, and I know you want to do the right thing, Adrian. If you see Brandon Shurtliff, if you see Adrian Lucian, email findmichael@fruitland.org. Let's just keep an eye on them for law enforcement. Okay? We're Monkey's Army. We're not going anywhere. It's about time that somebody comes forward and tells law enforcement any of the information that they have. The tip line's phone number is 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. Please, please, somebody come forward with information. That information could match other tips that have came in, which makes the case stronger. Your tip could lead somebody to Michael, which is the most important thing, because we're never giving up. We're never going away. And let's face it, if you know something and later on law enforcement knows that you know something, you could get in trouble too for hindering the investigation. So think about that. If you're a loved one, whether you're a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a cousin, a sibling, It doesn't matter who you are. If you love one of the suspects, the best thing that you could do is tell law enforcement what you know if you know anything. I guarantee you, you will feel better about yourself. You hold this kind of information in for the rest of your life, and you're not going to feel like a good person. You're going to have nightmares. You're going to feel like somebody's always looking at, for you. You're going to get paranoid, thinking people are watching you. Do the right thing and come forward, even if you love the suspects. Because if you really love them, you would make them take the responsibility for what they have done to a 5-year-old little boy. Michael did not deserve what happened to him. He was loved and is still loved by his family. You are putting the family through even more suffering by not coming forward if you know something. Please share Michael. Share his beautiful face, his beautiful smile. Share all over social media. It's the best thing you can do for Michael. We have to keep his story out there. We have to keep the public asking questions. We have to keep the public aware that Michael is still missing. Michael has not made it home to his family yet. Brandy and the Vaughan family needs us to continue fighting for the Vaughan family. She's still fighting as much as she can, but she needs to rest. She needs to take care of herself. She is fighting every single day to stay alive. She needs us to share Monkey for her. So please share Monkey, please. Again, if you have any information about Michael's abduction, there is over $52,000 reward, and you can remain anonymous. Call the Fruitland Police Department, tip line 208-642-6006, or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Let them decide whether your tip is credible or not. Your information could be the one thing that law enforcement needs to put together the entire puzzle. The DA will put charges out either when they find Michael or when everything is complete, when they have added all of the new information that they've been getting to the charges that were written up 2 months ago. Because let's not forget, there's been a plea deal offered to Brandon, and there's been a search up at the cemetery that Brandon's grandmother and mom own. They are still searching for Monkey. Are they still searching the cemetery? I don't know. Where are they searching? I don't know. But I know they're looking for Michael right now. They're not giving up. Brandy even said herself that law enforcement is going crazy right now. They got a fire under their ass, and they are doing everything that they can to find Michael. She said the DA even has like a new fire too. If you think you're going to sit around and not get arrested sometime soon, you're dumber than I thought, Brandon, for real. You guys are awesome in chat. Thank you guys so much for being here, for supporting the Vaughan family, for supporting Monkey. Won't Sarah spill? Sarah ain't gonna say nothing. She doesn't say anything to anybody ever about nothing. And if she even acts like she's gonna slip, she takes a little break, hides in her cell, and just completely stops talking. I'm over it, you guys. Going over this case 2, 3, 4 times a week sometimes, it gets to you. It gets to your mental health to repeat some of the same things that I repeat every single day, every week. Let's find Monkey. I will never give up. I don't care that sometimes it bothers me that I'm repeating myself. I don't care if it bothers other people that I'm up here saying the same thing about giving a tip. We don't know if people are calling in tips or not. It could be a great thing. But if I'm this frustrated, I can't imagine how frustrated the Vaughan family is. And that's what keeps me going. The family is still hurting and Michael needs to come home. I feel so deeply about Michael, about his case. I'm never giving up, no matter what. I know other people have said that and they eventually give up. I'm not one of those people. I can't ever give up. I would never give up, not on a child. What has happened to Michael is horrific. It's unimaginable. Nobody ever would want this to happen to their son, their brother, their grandson. Callie says, yep, I'll say it again and again until Michael is found and he gets the justice that he deserves. That's right. We're never going to stop, Callie. You know me. You know I'm never going to stop. And I know you have had your doubts wondering if I would ever give up. And I always tell you, I'm not ever going to give up, Callie. And I won't. I have promised you that. I have told the Vaughan family that. I will never give up on Monkey. I will continue to fight until justice is served, until Michael comes home, until cuffs are out. It is time. I can't wait for the day. Because every day I open up my phone and I Google updates on Michael Vaughan. Updates on Kyron Horman, okay? That's my daily thing. I get up, I grab my coffee, and see if there's any updates. I cannot wait for the day where I put in a Michael Vaughan update and I see arrests. Arrests have been made. And they are coming, you guys. They are coming. I know it's frustrating that they put out months ago that it was going down, but it will go down. Just let the DA, trust law enforcement that it's coming, okay? I cannot wait for that day. And I cannot wait to have that conversation with Brandy the day that happens. When I can say, oh my God, honey, look, here's the charges. And then we're going to have to fight even more. We're going to have to fight and be Michael's voice. Brandy and the Vaughan family will have to also fight more because even though charges come out, court hearings and everything else, and we'll be right here. If court is televised, you can bet your ass I'll be right here at this computer and we're all going to sit and watch it and we're all going to talk about it. And if we see, we could see good things, we could see bad things, but guess what? We'll be able to advocate for Michael because we are the public. We can scream from the rooftops. We can riot outside the courthouse. You can do all kinds of things to advocate for Michael while there are court hearings going on. And that's why it's so important to get the public involved. That's why it's so important to share Monkey. That's our jobs. To keep fighting, to be Michael's voice. That's what my Monkey's Army does. Fight. And we cannot give up. Brandy isn't giving up. Brandy's the strongest woman I know. I don't even know how she has gone through everything she has gone through. I don't know how that family has gone through what they've gone through. I don't understand how Blue is graduating from high school this year, knowing how sick her mom is and that her brother is gone. And yet she has learned to have that kind of strength and that mentality from her mother. We stand with the Vaughan family, period. We're never giving up. We're never going to stop asking questions. We're never going to stop fighting for justice, ever. The 4 suspects in Michael Vaughan's case are Adrian Lucian, Brandon Shurtliff, Sarah and Stacy Wandra. And they will remain the suspects because they all have knowledge of Michael's abduction and murder. It's a fact. It's a fact that the Vaughans had nothing to do with their son's abduction. It is fact. Law enforcement works with the Vaughan family. They consider the Vaughan family family. They love Michael like a son. J.D. Huff has even said it. We're all fighting. If you guys know anybody that may want to take an interest in Michael's case, when you're sharing a story, bring them over here. Bring them into chat. Let's get them part of Monkey's army. We cannot give up fighting the fight. And now more than ever, we are needed. We were called upon months and months ago. Brandy come out, said, I need you. I need your help. I need you to keep fighting for Monkey. Please, can you guys do more lives? She asked several people on YouTube. And of course, we all came a-calling. We all came a-calling. And we're here. And now we're fighting. And we're going to continue to be here. Bring more people over. Especially if they're in the Fruitland area. That would even be great. But I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys so much. You know, the new people that have come, the people that have been here from the beginning, fighting the fight, being here for the Vaughans, being here for Monkey. I appreciate you, but more than anything, the Vaughan family really appreciates you being here, being a part of Monkey's army, fighting the fight with the Vaughans, and fighting for justice for Michael, because that is what's important. If you have any information about Michael Vaughan, his his abduction and or murder, please call 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. We're never giving up. We are never giving up. Thank you guys so much for being here, for supporting Monkey. I love you guys all so much. It means the world to me that you're here with me when I do these lives. It really does. It's great to see you guys all. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. Brandy, I wish you the very best Mother's Day that you could have. I know it may be a difficult day for you, but I hope you get to enjoy this Mother's Day with your other children. I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful day. And to all of the beautiful, wonderful, loving mothers out there, bless your heart for being a mom, for taking care of your babies, for protecting them. And don't forget, if your mom's still here, a phone call, a card, a gift, anything for your mama. It's so important. I could have done better when my mom was alive. I would admit that. And let me tell you, if she was here today, she'd get a gift. And, you know, love your mama. You never know how long she's going to be here. I don't have my parents anymore. But happy Mother's Day. Thank you guys all so much for being here. I appreciate you all so, so, so much. Have a good weekend, everybody. I'll see you back here Monday.